What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Westworld Season 3 video. So if you're new to the channel, please do drop a like and subscribe down below and let me know what content you like to see on this channel. I put up a video yesterday about the history of the Space Stone, which I really am happy with, and I really enjoy making that kind of content. So let me know what you want to see and what type of content you want to see, be it theories, explainers, or lore. But I'm going to talk today about Westworld Season 3 and why Rehoboam and Serac are actually the downfall of the human race itself, and why he is chasing a loop. But this will also be coming from a place of theory and thought based on the TV show Devs, which I have recently discovered on BBC iPlayer, and it really got me thinking. Now, both shows focus around, or at least Westworld Season 3 and Devs Season 1 focus around a computer that is predicting the future and machine learning, and both have very much mythological and theological connotations there, with Rehoboam and Maya being a deus thing there. But go and check out Devs if you are interested in the show, and well, it seemingly so far does that kind of stuff better than our show here in Westworld Season 3. But it's interesting that free choice in Devs plays a huge part of the entire narrative and where they're actually going. So there will be minor spoilers here for Devs as well, because I will explain my theory based on that. In Devs, free choice sort of broke the God's plan. There was a plan for how the world will actually work, and that is essentially what Rehoboam is doing in Westworld Season 3. It is picking up on trends that have happened in the past to work out what goes on in the future. In Westworld, outliers are noticed that will cause problems, much like Serac's brother and Caleb as well. They are sent to these rehabilitation centres, these re-education camps, and they are sent there to be fixed and put into where they should go based on how humanity should actually live. Now, with that in mind, it's just seemingly setting us up for our own destruction here. And I expect that the future episodes with Caleb will explain that possibly he was given a role, maybe he wasn't actually in the military, and Serac actually, or his re-education camps, decided on a profile for him that would fit in with the current model of where the world should and will be actually going. Now, there is an issue with this, because humanity is random. It's random, there are set points, everything can possibly happen, but it doesn't, we're on a line of where we're going in our current history. And I'm not going to talk multiverse theory, I'm not going to talk anything else like that, I'm just talking about what is happening with Rehoboam, because in the show so far, it is explaining a prediction algorithm and a straight line. So I'm only going to be discussing that there. Maybe multiverse and different realities will work into things in the future, but I'm just explaining what we've seen so far. But obviously this is a problem, because, well, if we're going on a fixed line and then we are making sure that everything actually fits in with that line, well, it is obviously going to happen. It means that will happen, and we are leading directly into the charge. And the reason we're told not to mess with time travel and everything like that is because, well, if we actually step on a butterfly in 10,000 BC, it could mean that the world is flooded, or we have, I don't know, shoes for heads or something like that. So if these outliers are fixed, well, that means that nothing can ever be broken. We can never have mistakes, and we can never actually learn from the mistakes that are going to happen. That is how we get crazy things, just absolutely major things happen, because people actually learn from their mistakes. And of course, consciousness and reality and things like that were a big thing in the previous 2 seasons, and that we need to learn from that. Obviously, Dolores kept going on a loop, learning and things like that. And that meant that they could wake up. So with Outliers being re-educated, that means that he is actually, or Serac and his computer are ensuring that this set path to destruction in the future, because as we know, the whole machine is predicting a drop-off of where it cannot ever predict actually in the future. Now, with the prediction happening and everything being fixed with the education camps and Outliers being given profiles to fit in with the rest of the world, that means I know something's going to happen because I'm making it happen. There is a outlier, so to speak, and Serac, in reality, is the greatest outlier because he is actually working with that machine to make sure it's correct. It's like having something happen and just not knowing if it's going to happen, but making sure that it does happen in the same way. Now, looking at this machine closely, we know that the machine has a bit of a fault. It knows that things are going to happen. It doesn't understand why these things are actually happening in the first place. Of course, we know that a mirror world has been created because Dolores actually mentioned that, and more on that a bit later. But with Dolores' mirror world, we have seen and know now that Charlotte Hale has two versions of her message to her children there, and we know that one was very cold and robotic. The other one was actually a bit more emotional. So if you look at the physical actions and what happens and the decisions just as they are in binary, in just zeros and ones, you're never going to know exactly why these things happen, and you're not going to get some emotion. That's why outliers are found, because they don't fit in. Now, by creating Rehboam, Serac has actually created the demise of humanity. He has opened a Pandora's box here, where we have seen it in the future, and we see that the world's going to end. He's created different versions and things like that, where the world will end. But there's always been one constant. The one constant in the fact that the world will or humanity itself will end, is the machine and Serac himself. They are always created, and the future always changes because he is changing these outliers. The watch pops up, says something needs to be fixed, he fixes it, but the one constant is the machine, and leading him towards that is the machine itself. It's basically saying that it's predicting these are fixed, it will always end it. It cannot be changed because the machine has always existed, and that is a problem. By creating Rehboam, Serac has set the world on its own loop. It cannot escape the loop until it actually learns, until it has some humanity. And by getting that data from the Forge, that possibly will actually mean that Rehboam itself will gain sentience and a conscience. That would be very, very curious there. I'd be very interested to see where humanity actually goes. So, just to summarise that there, by making this, Serac has created the world to have its own loop. He's created an entire one gigantic loop for humanity, and that free choice cannot be made if it is constantly being just the hammer around the edges of the prediction are being fixed there, and any imperfections are changed. Now, why does it always end in the future there with everything? Why does it always end with just a blank cutoff? That is curious in and in itself, in the fact that there's always a constant there that keeps ending. Now, obviously, there are a million different reasons why humanity could actually end. Could it be nuclear war? But we're seeing the rise of humans and hosts and human-host hybrids. Now, the curious thing there is, could this actually be a war between the hosts and humanity? That's kind of really the obvious choice, to be honest. It seems like the obvious choice. Could it be simply that we then go into a simulation? We saw the simulations with Maeve, we saw her in Warworld, And when she realized she's in a simulation, the aspect ratio changed there, which was actually pretty cool. So maybe we actually, in the future, go off and live in our own simulation. And that's why there's a drop-off, because in humanity, we're all living in some kind of hard drive in a room in a server farm. Bit wacky? Probably, yes. But the crux of this issue and the video here is the fact that Serac, by creating Rehoboam, has destroyed the Earth and humanity itself, because it will always happen. But that's it for this video. Please drop a like. Please do subscribe and let me know what kind of content you want down below, and I'll be really curious to see what you think. But that's it. Goodbye.